Hello and welcome to Drinking Buddies. I'm Phil from Beer Goals, and today my beer goal is to have a beer with my buddies. And I am super excited today because I have a very special guest. We have Ryan Lubker, the author of 101 Ways to Say I'm Drunk. Woo, welcome Ryan. Cheers, buddy. Drinking with us all the way from Mississippi. Cheers from California, my friend. And
Cheers,
I love this idea for this book, 101 Ways to Say I'm Drunk. And I just have my first question is, were you drunk when you wrote this?
Not when I wrote it. Not when I wrote it, but I was drunk when I came up with the idea, and I was drunk when I came up with all the terms for it. But when it came time to just sit down and actually do the writing of the book, I had to be sober for that one.
Oh, that's awesome, man. So the inspiration was you're drinking beers with your buddies, and you're like, you know what? This would be a good idea for a book. Because what's kind of crazy about it, when I first saw this idea, I first saw your book, I was like, wow, 101, ways to say you're drunk. I'm schlossed, I'm shit-faced, I'm pissed, I'm hammered. And I'm like, but then I started to actually run out of ways to say I'm drunk. So while it doesn't sound like that hard an idea, like when you actually start to sit down and write 101 ways to say I'm drunk, it's like, that's kind of hard, man. Like, so you actually go ahead.
It gets tedious to about 60 of them in that first brainstorming session. And then over the next couple of weeks, I was able to just kind of, as I was walking around, just think in my head and be like, gotta add that one to the list.
So did you do real research? Now, for me, I think a lot of people like to sort of romanticize the idea of, a writer, an author that likes to drink the sauce, kind of go out and get a cabin in the woods and start drinking, pounding them back while they're on an old typewriter. So was that you? You said you didn't drink at all, but did you get a cabin, go out like T.S. Eliot, go out and just in the woods somewhere and no?
No. Well, I'm in college right now still, so.
Oh no, are you old enough? Oh my God, are you old enough to drink? You're gonna get me canceled. Are you old enough to drink? Please tell me you're old enough to drink.
I'm 22. Almost 23.
Oh God, you got me scared, buddy. You got me scared, man. That's how I'm gonna get. That's how Beer Goals gets canceled.
Oh yeah.
I just have hey, I'm here with the kid that likes to talk about getting drunk. It's like, bah. Oh yeah. Man, well thank goodness, man. Well, cheers to being 22.
Yes, absolutely.
Very cool, man.
Yeah, I just happened to write one or two of them a day, just in between classes or in between assignments. I would just kind of pull up another tab and sit down and write a few paragraphs and go do something else, and it just kind of wrote itself over a couple of weeks, couple of months.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So each entry for getting drunk, you actually go into the history of it and describe it, or can you give us an example? Without giving the book away, you have to purchase the book to get all of them. But is there let's see the book. Do you have a copy?
So here's a copy of it. And yeah, I can give you some good ones. Right now I have them sorted alphabetically, and they all have a picture to go with them.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of alphabetical according to what, is there a style? Are there different styles of getting drunk? Is there people say oh, I'm sloppy, oh, I'm is there a different were there actual different terms that were associated with the level of drunkenness, or is it just kind of all
Yeah, so the goal of it is to work any one of these terms into the sentence, man, I got blank last night.
Oh, okay. So I'm blank. So I'm schnozzle face. Because I'm telling you, man, I couldn't come up with I couldn't come up with 10 ways to say I'm drunk. So after a while, if I were you, I would have just started making stuff up. I'm schnozzled. Did you get to a point where you're I'm gonna slip a couple of my own in here, or were you totally authentic and you researched the etymology of different ways throughout history to say I'm drunk? Come on, be honest. Did you slip a couple in?
There's probably 5 to 10 in there that I may or may not have made up, but it's ones that I could have that I've actually like used in a context before, even though they are made up. They're just like humorous, and I've said them before.
Well, here's the thing: once your people start reading your book, that's going to be it, man. Then it's actually going to be legitimate. So it's kind of like a catch-22. Like if you put it in the book, this is the end-all be-all of ways to say I'm drunk. I think you're drunk right now because I don't know. Did we pause? I think we lost. Did we lose Ryan? All right. So if you guys are just joining us, hopefully it comes back in. I am here with Ryan Lubker, the author of 101 Ways to Say I'm Drunk. He's also the creator of something called the Beer Deer, which I want to get to a little later. But how do you guys say you're drunk? We like to drink responsibly, but once in a while, we all know we've had a little bit too much. And we lost Ryan. All right, let's see if we can get him back. Come on, buddy. There we go. All right, let's see. Somebody. Cheers from Sarah. All right, cheers to you. And okay, well, we're gonna wait and see if we can get Ryan back. Oh, there we go. He's ready to come in. There we go. Ryan, you there?
Yes.
There he is.
Here I am.
All right. I think your internet connection's drunk, but that's how committed you are to this idea of 101 ways to say I'm drunk. So cheers to your internet connection getting a little boozy. Before I forget, so I am today. I don't know if you know this, Ryan, but I have a beer goal to drink 50 beers in each state across America. That's 2,550 beers, including Washington, D.C. for you math nerds out there. So today I'm drinking a beer from California. This is from Figueroa Mountain Brewing Company. They actually sent me this. This is one of their new Shandy beers. It's the Watermelon Shandy. It tastes like watermelon.
There you go.
And here's the thing, man. This beer, nobody's saying I'm drunk off of this. It's only 4.3% ABV. It's a very light beer, but it's delicious. And sometimes, it's not all about the ABV. Sometimes it's about the taste. Which I was going to ask you for ways to say I'm drunk. Is there a beer or a beverage that you prefer for when you want to get a little? Is that one? Can I do a whistle? Is that a way to say I'm drunk? A little.
Hey, it's not even the book, but anyway, you want to do it works.
All right. That's how I'm going to say it. So, exactly. is there a specific? First of all, since this is beer goals, is there a beer that you prefer that's like a high ABV beer? It's just a beer in general. I don't know what you college kids drink these days, but is there a beer that you like to tip back? What's your beer of choice?
I am not the typical palate of a college student. When I can, I try to avoid the natty lights of the world. I'm big into the craft beers. Right now I have one from Memphis Parish Brewing Company, Ghost in the Machine. That's what I'm drinking right now. It's a milkshake. Delicious.
That is an awesome from Memphis, Tennessee. Yes, I think I've had that one. Cheers for Tennessee beers. That's awesome. And I am so glad to hear that you are a college student and you're drinking the craft beer. There is hope for America's future, everybody. Look at that. Yeah. We got a college kid drinking craft beers. Cheers to you, sir. Well, you certainly are ahead of the game with this awesome book. If you guys are just joining us, I'm here with Ryan Lubker. He is the author of 101 Ways to Say I'm Drunk. So let us know in the comments, first of all, what you're drinking on this fine hump day, Wednesday. I've got a nice Shandy. And then let us know how you say I'm drunk. There's 101 ways, apparently. So I had a question. I was thinking about, like, did you actually go back and see sort of the history of ways people saw I'm drunk? Like, was there something from the Middle Ages or something like that? Like, how did they say? Was there an old timey way? Like, he's got the devil's sauce in him, was there something like that?
I was taking more of the handbook angle rather than the historian angle. So okay. I wanted it to be something where you could pay on the toilet or it's on the table, whatever. You just get a laugh out of it, and you kind of learn something to keep in your back pocket for the next time you're kind of telling a story about how your night went. You have all this new vocabulary. Because in my mind, the funniest stories about the night aren't what happened. It's how the story's told. and people who use like outrageous adjectives in their storytelling just have the best stories. So I wanted to put together a little handbook of
Uh-oh.
almost a thesaurus that you're drunk.
A thesaurus of being drunk and saying I'm drunk. But it's really funny you mentioned that, Ryan, because I remember when I was in college, like it was always about like the number. It was always about like the almost like how athletes are like if you're like in a locker room of sports and you like recap the game, there would always be those people like after the party that like recapped like the night of drinking, man. Like, oh dude, I had like 10 beers, man. I had like 20 beers. We got so we got so we got so snorkel pipe. You could say anything. It's like drug. I don't even.
There's a funny comedy skit actually where this I forget who the comedian was, but he says you can really just use any word in the English language and just put it in there and it works. And one of the examples that he used was gazeboed.
I like that. I'll have to look that up. I got gazeboed. Yeah,
that didn't make the cut for the book, but
you can picture it. You could be like, yeah, like I'm floored.
that's in there.
We could come up with a whole new list today. You could have a part 2, like if you come up with enough of them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. See, who do we got over here? All right. Cheers from Karen. Cheers, Karen Glad. Good to see you. So yeah, if you're joining us, let us know. 101 ways to say I'm drunk. Let us know how you guys say I'm drunk. I think it's such a cool idea. Like you said, you want this to be sort of a coffee table book, which is ironic because it's more of like a bar table book.
Well, that's the magic behind it. Is it's all supposed to just be flooded with irony. The whole thing is supposed to be a big ironic joke. That's the reason that the cover is designed so elegantly with like gold foil on the black mat and everything's just supposed to be very like elegant, just to be completely ironic.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. I love the idea of like you're sitting as an author with like a pipe by like a fireplace and like the fire's crackling and you're like, today the way we say we're drunk. I learned a good one recently from the Beer Buddy podcast out of Australia. These guys taught me one. So here's the thing. At first, I thought they were saying I'm mounted. Wasn't I'm mounted? It was actually I'm munted, which is how they say it in Australia. Which brings up another question. In your learned studies of ways to say you're drunk, did you come across any like really interesting foreign from like maybe another country or like another culture that's like how people say I'm drunk? Was there anything you were like, whoa, this is a good one?
Well, not exactly, but there was some research that I did because in one of the definitions I made reference. I'm kind of poked a little bit of fun at the UK. The word was trashed, and in the description I made reference to saying in the UK they might call this rubbished. So that was the extent of the international research I've done.
Okay,
everything else is.
Yeah. I love learning those slang terms from other countries. Sometimes you got to be careful. You're like, oh, what's this? And you're like, oh, that's horrible. Don't say that. But then like sometimes it's just something innocuous and totally sweet. And you're like, oh, I'm rubbish. I can see that. I don't know what kind of accent that was. Don't hold that against me. Oh, that's awesome, man. So like I love coming up with this kind of thing. He's awesome. Oh yeah, plowed. I'm trying to think of like other ones that I've used myself. Like again, 100. Wait, is there any more examples you can give us of some cool?
Well, if you give me a term, I can pull it out of here because it's probably in here.
Oh, okay. Well, is there something plowed? Because I feel like that would probably have an actual like history to it. Like I'm plowed. Like maybe there was like the farmer would have too many drinks after he was done working for the day, and he's like, I'm plowed, and so like he was done plowing. I'm just making this up. I have no idea. That's what I would think.
I think, as funny as it is, plowed is one that probably fell off the list of, because I came up with about 130 and I chopped it down, and I think plowed fell off the back of the list.
Plowed fell off the back of the list. Wow. All right. Okay. Let's see.
I had to make room for a couple of the creative ones.
All right, here's,
there.
So let's see. Cheers to Josh and Steph. How you doing, Josh and Steph? What are you drinking tonight? They say inebriated. I'm not inebriated. I'm Virgo. Okay. Very cool. Let's see. Yeah. Let's
So
see.
here's the page for inebriated. Simple picture, the word, and then the phonetic pronunciation.
I love it. I love that.
For a little added irony. And I'll read the couple
Reading
of
from the
sentences.
text. And
Yes.
now a live reading of 101 Ways to Say I'm Drunk.
This
Sir.
one says, inebriated. This is a classic term used by both law enforcement and partygoers who tote a healthy bit of sarcastic humor in their vocabulary. To say that one is inebriated is to say that they were quite intoxicated. They were able to keep their wits about them, though, as this is a very mature form of drunkenness. When you're inebriated, the term one too many is taken rather literally, as you likely didn't go excessively over your limits, which is unfortunate for the fun havers who prefer to wake up in a dingy motel 2 towns over with no idea how they got there, but fortunate for the mature and responsible individuals who went a tad bit overboard at Wine Wednesday.
I love that. I love how serious you're taking that. That's so cool. That is really cool. Let's see. What are they drinking? Josh is ever drinking homebrew cherry oatmeal pastry stout. Cheers to that.
Cheers.
That sounds delicious.
It does.
So there's different. So that brings up an interesting thing. There's different ways to say I'm drunk based on the type of drinking you're doing. Because there's like Sunday morning, going out to a Sunday brunch with the gals, kind of drinking. There's going out with the buddies Friday night. We're gonna get hammered, bro, like that kind of thing. And then there's like, I'm going to a wine tasting,
Right.
which I always thought was funny. And don't tell anybody this, but I got a really funny term from wine tasting that I use for my beer reviews, which is like I saw a guy at a wine tasting. He was like doing this, like just looked at my nose. He didn't do that. Wait. It just went up my nose. I just got the beer up my nose. Hold on. So he was going like this. He was going, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's got a real nose on it, which meant like he liked the aroma of how it smelled. So now I use that like all the time. It's got a nose on it. So I wonder, like, it's went up my nose. So I wonder, like, how would that guy say, like, I'm drunk? So he would probably use like inebriated, or he would have something else. He would be like, I'm trashed. He'd be like, I've had a bit too many. Like that. I don't know why he's British, but you know what I mean? Like,
well, one of my favorite terms that I would say is one that I definitively made up for this book is steamed.
Steamed.
And in the definition, I related it to clams and mussels and other shellfish about how when you drink, you tend to open up a little bit more. You're not quite drunk, but you're a little bit more talkative, and you're saying things that you wouldn't be saying when you were sober. So that stage, you're steamed.
I love that. Wow, that's like really smart, man. I love that. I'm steamed. I'm opening up like a clam. That is really smart. That's like, wow, man. Let's make that a thing. Okay, everybody, let's make that beer goal for today is we're going to take Ryan's word from his book. We're going to make that a popular American idiom. I'm steamed. From now on, let's get steamed. All right. Cheers.
And now there's 99 terms left for everybody to figure out what they are.
Oh, there you go, man. You got to get the book. Where can you get the book, by the way? It's on sale, right?
Yes, so it's on Kickstarter right now. There's a crowdfunding campaign. We already reached our full funding goal and exceeded it a little.
Congrats, man.
So orders are like $15 for free shipping, a copy of the book, and you get the first wave of them. So that's exciting. The link is a little lengthy, but if you go on Kickstarter and you just go in the search bar and type 101 ways, it's the first result there. So
nice.
It's hard to miss.
Congratulations, man. That is really cool. Thank
you very much.
Even as refined as this book is, it's always hard to write a book. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that's amazing, man. Congratulations. We'll be checking that out. We're going to be using that. Hashtag steamed. That's our beer goal, guys. Hashtag steamed. We're going to get that going in the vernacular. Well, I want to talk about something else. So you are actually also the creator of something called the Beer Deer. And I saw this, and I'm like, this is amazing. I can see you have a couple of them there in the background. Do you tell people about, there it is, the Beer Deer. It's like you take beer, is it beer cans or boxes, and you make like a hunting trophy like out of beer boxes. Tell the good folks about the beer deer. Beer deer.
So, yeah, so this is the original beer deer. It's the deer made out of the mixed boxes. We take the designs from all different beer packaging, and we turn them into animals. It started with just the deer. Let me set that down. Sorry. Started with
Start with
just the deer, and then we added the moose. Limited edition eagle. That was for 4th of July last year. We did 1776 of those for patriotism.
That's
and
awesome.
That sold out in about an hour. It was awesome. And sneak peek, it's not been released or even announced yet, but if you're on here, this is our new Marlin that's coming up in about a month or two. That's not even been announced yet to the public.
Oh, thank you so much. That's so cool, man. I love that. So you have like different designs. It's all made out of like recycled beer boxes, like beer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. All right. So do you take requests? Because I thought of a couple cool ones you could do. I love the eagle. I love the marlin. You could do like a beer robot. Have you done a beer robot?
No, we've not.
Oh,
Right now we're working on mass production, so we're not actually physically making these. We have a factory producing them, so we have exact designs that are made. So we can't really customize them. We order them by the thousands from our factory into our warehouse. So there's really no opportunity to customize them. We just have to fulfill. But we also struck up some deals with Anheuser-Busch. So we have the Busch Light exclusive deer and a Bud Light exclusive deer, where it's like all Busch Light packaging.
Oh, that's really cool.
All Bud Light's bag.
That is so cool. Well, that is awesome. Well, I love it. I love the whole idea of like, because you're kind of like taking it's like a recycling almost, and making cool art out of things that people would just throw away. Which reminds me of like, I don't know if they did that, like there's people who do like the housing out of beer bottles and stuff like that. So you can make like a whole line of beer construction stuff. Like not only do you like decorate your house with beer deers, you actually make your house out of beer packaging.
Yeah,
you're onto something, man. You're like the Elon Musk of beer. You're gonna like make like housing for like all the people that like need a house. Like, because it's getting like really expensive with house prices these days, especially out here in California. But with your beer deer technology, we could actually like construct like buildings, cars out of beer boxes. I like my robot idea. I know you're not taking pitches right now. You got a whole factory lined up, but if you're looking for some new products, I'm telling you, man, you make a full body beer deer, and then you put the beer cans like into it, and like it holds it, right? So imagine this, right? Go with me. So he's like standing there, and it's like a little beer robot made just like the beer deer. And then you slip the cans into it, and then it's like not only is it a decoration, but it also holds beer cans so that like you can, take one. I guess it has to be cold though. All right, it's a whole thing. I'm working it out, man. But you're gonna like it. You're gonna like my beer
you need
robot.
to have the robot stand there and have its hand open, so it's just like a coaster. It holds your beer next to your couch.
This is why you're the inventor, man. There you go. That's brilliant. Boom. So you have it. It's empty. You've got maybe your extra cans are in like his backpack, like he has like a jetpack.
Yeah.
And then he holds it for you. Oh, he holds it for you like a servant. Oh, I don't want to dump this on my computer. So he's holding the beer. Oh, here, use this one. He's holding the beer like this, and it's like your beer servant, beer robot. I like beer robot better. Beer robot. There you go, man. Next idea.
Beer
Boom. Beer goals. High five. Cheers. But that's so. What was the inspiration for the beer deer and the whole line of things? That's like really cool because I have like I don't know if, it's over here somewhere, but I have like a beer cap collection. But like as a beer fan, I'm jealous of all these guys who are like hunters or sports guys, and they have like stuff they can put on the wall. And I don't have any of that. I just have like some bottle caps or whatever. But with your invention, the beer deer, like that gives a whole new dimension to beer decorations. So what was your inspiration for the beer deer?
Well, unsurprisingly, when I came up with the idea, I was drunk.
Nice.
But I had seen online these, there's a company called Cardboard Safari. And I had seen them have all these animal heads just made out of cardboard. and I like to do a lot of stuff myself. If I can avoid buying it and I can make it myself, I'm going to do that. So I was like, well, I can make that. And you know what else is made out of cardboard that would make this even cooler? Beer boxes. So I just made one for myself, and I ended up posting it on social media, and it went insanely viral. Within
awesome.
like 10 minutes of posting it, it had over 1 million views already, and there was just comments and comments and comments like accumulating. Just everyone wanted to buy one from me, and I just had the opportunity and couldn't turn it down, and just had to start figuring out how to do it. And I put it into practice and got it.
You're living the American dream, man. That's awesome, dude. I love that so much. That's like an inspirational beer inventor story, dude. That is so cool. Congratulations, Ryan. On wow.
Thank you.
Yeah. So there you go, kids. You know, one man's like discarded beer box junk is another man's viral internet sensation. So I love it, dude.
Well, and the awesome thing about it is I came up with the idea and I started working on the project when I was at school, right before spring break of 2020. We went on spring break and COVID hit, and we didn't come back to school until the fall, months later.
Right.
And I came back, and there was just a little bit left I had to do. And I was thinking, do I really want to go through with finishing this project, or do I just throw it away? And I finished it, hung it up, and I'm glad I did.
That's how, yeah, you always got to follow through on your dreams, man. Never throw them out. Never throw them out. No. Oh, that's great, man. So do you have any plans to like pair the book and the beer deer? Like have like a bundle of your ideas? Like
right now they're separate entities.
Okay.
I have a lot more ideas to go with the book, just in the future to come. And I would have originally introduced the book with the Beer Deer brand, but it creates a lot of confusion. So it's better to be independent on its own. And then I have a collection of other products that I have developed and come up with that I'll then gradually be adding to an expanding brand that is this new book company.
That's awesome, man. I was going to say, because I feel like you've inspired me as well with your authorship. I feel like we should have a whole Beer Goals book club. Like this should be the first Beer Goals book of the month. And I think I'm going to be the Oprah of beer with my telling everybody, remember there was Oprah's book club. So I'm going to have the Beer Goals book club. I'm going to be, so everybody gets a beer book. You get a beer book. I don't know. So I'm going to recommend to everybody to get the 101 Ways to Say I'm Drunk. Ryan, that is amazing. Very cool. Do you have any other plans for like a follow-up series, like 101 Ways to Say You're Drunk? Like, I'm not drunk. You're drunk.
Right now, I don't have any more book concepts in the pipeline, but I think that the next thing that will come out, and it'll probably be a good ways down the line, 6 months to a year from now, I'd love to have a drinking game that can be distributed and sold either with cards or dice or whatever it may be, but some sort of distributable drinking game. And I have some ideas for it, but I've not fully developed that one yet. So that'll probably be the follow-ups. It'll still kind of be the paper goods, the tabletop, conversation piece along the same lines, but that's probably what's going to come next. I just got to focus on getting this fully produced at scale, because right now I just have the prototype copies and the backing and funding on Kickstarter, and now I got to take that funding and turn it into a company.
That's amazing, man. Cheers to that. Innovative beer ideas. You got Beer Deer. You got 101 Ways to Say I'm Drunk, the book. I think you should go on a national, just take this thing national, man. Just go on a book tour of breweries and bars and just read it to people, almost like a preacher. Just like read them the good word. I don't know what we're advocating here. You should be drunk. No. Be safe while you're drinking, but if you do have a little, now you have a way to describe it. Now you have, what did you refer to it as? The thesaurus of...
The thesaurus of drunk.
The thesaurus of drunk. Oh, man. What was the silliest way to say I'm drunk? Did you find anything that was like, wow, like this is just like, okay, first of all, the silliest way to say I'm drunk, and then also, was there anything that was like, oof, like that's actually like a little too rough, like a little too crazy, like I better not put that in there? And will you describe it to us now?
The I don't know if it's the silliest, the funniest, whatever it may be, but the one of the most out there ones that I got a kick out of is one that I found bilingual.
Okay.
And you're so drunk that instead of just speaking English, you're also just speaking in tongues, and no one can understand what you're saying. So
That's funny.
you're bilingual, and that was probably the goofiest, like funniest one that's included in the book.
That's
there's
really
also
funny.
there's probably 15 that are right up on that same level of just absurdity.
Just like absurd. But was there any? Okay, so bilingual. That's like okay. But was there any? You're like, you don't have to. If they're really bad, please don't explain all of it. But was there any? You're like, oh man, like Jesus, I better not put that in the book. Was there any that were just like,
off the top of my head, I can't think of any.
Okay,
but we're
good.
also about a year removed from when I evolved from the large list into being at the 101 terms.
Right.
So I started writing this a little over a year ago. So I cut down to these 101 terms, and these are the ones that I've been familiar with for over a year now. So
Okay,
all
gotcha.
the other ones are kind of like gone.
They're
in
on
my
the back
mind,
burner.
and I
That's like
can't
the
remember.
deleted. That's like the deleted scenes of your book. Did they have deleted scenes for books? I don't know. Probably not. But like that's like the scrap pile. That's like the bonus like fan edition. Well, when they come out with like when you come out with like the third edition of the book, you can include like all the crazy stuff that you didn't include the first time. Awesome, man. Very cool. Yeah. Well, I've been inspired to be the Oprah of beer and have a beer book club, and I think we've learned a lot here today, man. Very cool, man. So, yeah. Well, cheers to you, and congrats on the book and the beer, dear. And
Thank you.
Man, if you need any more inspiration for that beer robot, let's do it, man.
Absolutely. And when it comes time to write the second edition, all I have to do is go into Beer Goals and type the question out, and I'll get an influx
They'll get it. Very cool, dude. Very cool. Yeah, I'm trying to see, do we have anybody that's got any ways to say you're drunk that maybe Ryan hasn't heard? I'm trying to see. Just inebriated was their first one. Very cool, man. So were a lot of people giving you like advice, like terms that they wanted to get? But dude, you got to put this in the book. Or was it mostly just research? Or
I've kept it to myself for the most part.
Nice. That's the way to do it.
Outside of myself, there were probably 5 people who knew that I was writing the book until I started running my like advertising and preparing to promote the project. Then once I started getting in touch with a videographer and everything, a photographer and all this stuff to make the video and photo content for the Kickstarter page, that's when I kind of started telling some more of my friends, and then I fully publicized it to everyone once I launched it, just launch day. I told everybody.
Oh, launch day. Okay, this is how you promote the book. Ready? You make a beer airplane out of the beer deer, right? You put a book in it, and then you fly it like a big giant paper airplane across into bars, and like it lands, and people are like, oh, what's this? And then they take the book out. I've had too much beer. All right, you ready, dude? How much beer do you got left? Let's do it. Let's see if we can live up to your book title. Let's do. Oh, that's like a little tiny half pint. We both have the same. Cheers. Down the hatch. You ready? All right,
yes, sir.
California to Mississippi. All right. Cheers, dude.
Cheers.
Woo! That's how we celebrate. All right. Well, Ryan, everybody, if you're just joining us, this has been Ryan Lubker. He's the author of 101 Ways to Say I'm Drunk. He's also the inventor of the Beer Deer, both of which are really cool products. Look them up. We'll put in some links there in the comments. And thank you so much for being on Drinking Buddies, Ryan. I look forward to seeing all your success. There is hope for the future, everybody. There's hope for the future. He's a college student who's inventing things. He's an entrepreneur, and he loves craft beer. So
Yes, sir.
cheers to that, man. Cheers to that. Thank you so much, Ryan.
Thank you for having me on, Phil. I had a great time.
All right, awesome. All right, everybody go check out his book and stuff. Cheers!
Cheers.